Welcome traders, I'm Adam from Trade with Precision and welcome to IC Markets Inside the Chart. So first of all, let's have a look at Euro Dollar Monthly, something I want to show you here. We've been range bound for a while. We started to break out around about December. We had a bit of an indecision candle for January, February as well. You can see that we sort of closed lower. I was curious to see if we would fall back within that range or we're going to stay outside that range because of course that implies the possibility of the continuation of the strengthening of the US dollar or potentially the weakening of that. We have a look at it from a weekly perspective. What's actually happening now is euro dollar is ranging. So for now, I do expect it to potentially head lower towards the middle of the range, whether it finds some strength here, finds some support, it takes another run up to test that level of resistance. We will have to see. Dollar yen here is also finding some nice strength at support, but it is still within a downtrend, so I'll be keeping an eye on key levels here for potential resistance. I do know that the Bank of Japan would prefer that dollar yen stays below this 150 level. So there is a good practical reason why we might continue to see dollar yen head low. And therefore this week I'll be looking for some signs of bearish rejection here and possibly a trend continuation opportunity. Having a look at gold. So gold is now experiencing not just a daily retracement or at least a daily potential end of daily trend, but actually a weekly retracement. So for now, it makes the most sense for me that we would see gold move down at least to 27.90 to the old highs over here, if not possibly a little bit further down towards the previous highs, but certainly back towards the moving averages. So this is now a weekly retracement. I'll be keeping an eye on the low of last week's candle to see if we get a break of that, which should then add to that momentum. To the downside, let's have a look at crude oil. So crude oil is largely stuck within a range on the monthly as well. So it is very sort of volatile at the moment in terms of not really having a clear lack of direction. There's certainly downward pressure. Let's go back to the daily. Certainly downward pressure. So for now, I'm still expecting this to continue to head down to test that $67 level. Let's have a quick look at the S&P. So S&P, especially when we zoom out, you can see here it is currently ranging. So it has found some nice support on Friday. So it makes more sense that we'll potentially see this head back up towards the top of the range. However, one of my other observations is that we continue to get lower highs on the momentum indicators, both the MACD and RSI. So there's still a lot of bearish pressure. And if we do get a break below the level of support, I would expect us to head down towards the next level of support this week. But right now, especially if we break the high of Friday's candle, I'm expecting this to attempt to push higher. Let's have a comparison with the NASDAQ as well. You can see also a nice, strong, bullish candle sitting at a level of support within a range. So again, right now, the probability is like that we'll see it potentially attempt at least to move back up to the range. Whether that will ultimately result in a breakout to the upside or a breakout to the downside is too soon to tell at this time. Moving on to the Russell 2000, it's actually still testing the outside of the range that it was in. If we go to the monthly, we're still sitting at a level of key level of resistance to find some potential support, but this is still within a daily downtrend, and therefore I'm actually leaning a little bit more bearish. I would expect a bit of a pullback this week and possibly to finish lower. Let's have a quick look at Tesla. So Tesla very much stuck within a solid downtrend. Really makes a lot of sense when you look at it from a monthly perspective. We can see it's putting back into the moving averages here. This is a key level this coming week, whether it's going to find some support. So what I'll be looking for is actually a bullish candle by the end of the week. If we get that, should we close below this, the likelihood of it heading further down makes more sense, but it is sitting at a critical area here, which has had some strong resistance, and I'm likely to see that tested for support. It's also then actually overextended to the downside. So really this week for Tesla, I expect us to stay above this level. For now, potentially pulling back into the moving averages. There might be a trend continuation short opportunity, but this level here is most likely going to be tested as support, which could see a reversal in the medium term. NVIDIA as well, range bound at the moment, lower highs, lower lows potentially. From a monthly perspective, you could just see very much struggling with resistance over there. So actually a correction to the downside towards that sort of $90 level would make a lot more sense. But in order for that to happen, we'd really have to see a break below this level of support. And then finishing off with Bitcoin, which has had a really nice bounce at support. For me, again, I still see this downtrend as intact. The momentum is nice and bearish. I'd expect more likely that we would see a potential retracement and then a continuation further south. But there are lots of buyers at the moment. Again, for me, what makes sense would be to see it pull back in towards that $70,000 level to test that for support. But possibly even as shallow as 75,000. However, I do think that there's more downside potential. We might find the price comes up to test us for resistance and then continues down. So plenty to look at the moment. Again, I exercise caution and I'm not subscribing to any conspiracy theories. Let's play it a day or a week at a time. Have a great week. Thanks.